All right, hey folks, it's Atlas from Two Stock here to bring you the next installment in our continuous series of Let's Plays. So here with Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, the Nintendo Switch port, or Wrath of the White Switch. I'm sure that will not catch on, but I'm gonna try. Damn it. Okay, so we're gonna do a new game. I'm excited to play this. A lot of my friends have really recommended it. Of course, with the animations by Studio Ghibli and Joe Hisashi contributing the music, it's just like it's very enticing. I haven't actually gotten to play this game before, of course, which I know it's kind of crazy when I think about it, especially because I just love these sorts of RPGs, and just like I don't know, living vicariously through the adventures of a child is just it's kind of it's nice. It really enhances the feeling of
Slow down, Mr.
high adventure and fantasy. Too much dark fantasy these days. Not complaining per se, just perhaps an oversaturation.
Oh.
So we're gonna get through this opening cinematic here.
What do we do?
Run for it!
I'll tell you one thing. He's doing better than Mufasa did. Rip. G.
Let's get going, shall we?
Huh? Hey, wait for me! So this is your world.
That's right. A whole nother world.
Wow.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Establishing a sense of scope right away, and we go into the intro. Nice little credit sequence, it seems. Wow. See, I'm not used to this at the beginning. Usually, you find something like this at the like there's a first stage of credits at the end of a game that resembles something like this. But of course, to really kind of push that feeling of a cinematic title, I suppose it makes sense that they'd start with this. Because usually I'm used to what was it a couple production credits, like the publisher and maybe the director, maybe the voice cast. But this is nice. I don't know. Makes me really feel like I'm going into a movie by Studio Ghibli. Who'd have thought? Okay. But I'd really like to be able to start playing the game. Is that going to happen? Because I'll tell you right now, it's not like I'm going to walk out, but I'm going to act like I'm going to if something doesn't happen soon. I do like the enemy design, though. The characters really do feel alive. The cell shading is nice. More minimalist, which is okay by me. Especially considering the types of designs of these characters and where they're inspired by, so that's fair. Okay. So, we'll be able to proceed from here. If you don't know what game this is by now, 3 title sequences later, you will. Motorville is a bit on the nose, establishing a mid-20th century look to the town, looks like. I grew up in a pretty small town outside of Ottawa. It was called Perth. It certainly had that old school look to it, for sure. With, those mid-century boutique designs, for sure. Although they were oftentimes modernized, I would say. But on the exterior, they wanted to resemble that heritage look, literally.
He just stepped out with some deliveries for me.
All right.
Doubt he'll have gotten far.
Thanks, Miss Layla.
Oh, say hi to your mother for me.
Sure thing, Miss Layla.
All right.
Hey, Ollie.
I guess things that make or break a fantasy RPG for me, especially when it comes to characters that are supposed to be really endearing, is how closely you can relate to the player character. Especially when you can't, customize
Over here.
your avatar. It's a matter of how strongly you can live vicariously through them. Now, given the sorts of, sentiments and themes that go into these sorts of games.
Good thing you found me. Guess
It can be
what?
gender
She's
neutral in
finally
terms
ready.
of whether what gender you are experiencing the gameplay through that of a young boy, because realistically, I assume at least that aside from a couple of like the old time pressures of on young men to do certain things or behave certain ways, the overall reaction to the world around them should be shared by just about anybody,
So what Miss Layla said?
especially
Is
as a
it real?
child.
What else would it be, dum-dum?
Now, is it fully voice acted? That's what I'm wondering.
Boy, you are something else, Phil. So what do we do now?
What else? We take her for a spin. Tonight.
Tonight? But I can't. I mean, I need to ask my mom. And
Wow, indecisive. I am feeling attacked. Okay, starting to relate to this kid.
You go ask your ma. And then when do we do it, huh? Tomorrow? Next year?
well,
Hey,
no, but okay, we'll do it tonight. But we'll have to be real quiet.
I'd like to think of that as peer pressure, but to be honest, he's probably not his peer. He's probably inferior. But anyway.
Sure we will. Okay, tonight in my garage. Be there or be square.
Hey, what if I can be square and there at the same time? You ever think about that?
Sure.
So, this is the child who will save the world.
Hey, child saves the world. Another thing I can relate to.
The dark Jin's power alone will not suffice.
I fear not.
What is the child's name?
Oliver, your radiance.
Oliver.
I don't know. Feels like a bit of a Dr. Claw kind of vibe if you ever watched Inspector Gadget. Alright. We go through the RPG tropes. I'm just going to skip all this. Star is the objective that you're going toward. Press X for the menu, but it looks like it's not enabled at the moment. Okay, well that's enabled at least, but that's... Dollars to donuts, X opens the main menu. X in the Switch being Y on, or triangle on the PS4. But anyway, so... I assure you, I'm not in charge of that. Phil is very much in charge, it would seem. A little dominant for my tastes. No, what's around here? The back rows and back streets. Alright. I love the old designs of these cars. They're very samey, of course. They can't get too bogged down by those details, but it's a nice little touch. Alright, so we get to... Sorry, I'm yawning. This nice little idyllic childhood home surrounded by a white picket fence. I don't think you can get more on the nose than that. Bringing home mom's groceries. Sweet.
Hey, Mom. I got the groceries.
Thanks, sweetie. Just pop them on the table, will you?
Alright.
Say, Mom,
Did you say something, sweetie?
you're kind of busy tomorrow, huh?
Well, now that you mention it, I do have to practice for my concert in the morning.
Oh, yeah?
Musician mom.
So, you'll be in bed kind of early.
More relatable by the minute.
Yes, I suppose I will.
Oh, you will, huh?
Will you stop being so mysterious and eat your breakfast? You'll be late for school. And chew before you swallow.
Chew before you swallow, but like shove an entire egg in your mouth at once.
Thanks for breakfast, Mom.
And the bacon. Wow, okay.
See you later, Mom.
Bye, sweetie. You be
Now, I
good
know
now.
they're not trying to get bogged down by just like
I will.
animating him eating the entire breakfast, but come on. Alright. So we gotta meet Phil again. This looks like a good part to cut off. Alright, so I'll see you in the next little bit. For the next installment of the Nino Kuni Let's Play. So yeah, I'm hoping to get Con Artist back on board for the next set of recordings for this, but we'll do the first few parts just with me. On the meantime, I'm very excited by what comes next.